Welcome in Line by Line. Today with Rogério Marques, we are analyzing a song by Jon Bon Jovi from the band Bon Jovi. It's My Life.
Hello, Karen. It's great to be back with you. Okay, so this song is really uplifting, and it celebrates people's uniqueness. It's really a song about living life to the fullest and not letting anyone else control your life. So it's really packed with life lessons and inspiring, especially for young people that are starting to figure out what to do, how their life will work and such. So the song starts with, "This ain't a song for the broken-hearted, no silent prayer for faith departed. And I ain't gonna be just a face in the crowd. You're gonna hear my voice when I shout it out loud." So Jon Bon Jovi, he's a really interesting songwriter because he packs his songs with references to previous songs from him. He builds kind of like a network of songs referring other songs. The first two verses in this song mention his other songs. "You Give Life a Bad Name," when he says, "This ain't a song for the brokenhearted." This song, "You Give Love a Bad Name," is about a man who has been rejected by a woman. So it's a song about someone with a broken heart. And then when he says, "No silent prayer for the faith departed," it's about the song, it's a reference to the song "Living on a Prayer," which is about a blue-collar couple struggling to make ends meet. The man in this relationship, he lost his job, and the woman is left the sole provider of the couple for the story in the song. And so they are expressing their dismay at how life is hard to them, but still they're holding on to faith that they have at least each other, which is a treasure in itself. Jon Bon Jovi, at the start of this song, he's kind of warning that the theme of this song is a departure from his other songs. It's a song for people who have really healed their hearts and are in shape for a challenge. He wisely realizes that people that are currently broken and have a broken heart or are feeling crushed by life probably don't have their souls in a state to grab the reins of their life. As he states that he wants to not be just a face in his crowd, in the crowd, and he wants to express himself when he mentions shouting out loud. So he wants to express his uniqueness.
Informational plus projection. Nice. That made me think when you said he refers to his previous songs. That's also how I write. I basically take inspiration from my actual life. And if you read through all the poetry that I wrote, I always put the date. It's like basically a diary and showing when I moved on from what subject, let's say. And here it made me think of a quote, I think it's by Carl Jung. "The most personal things are also universal."
Yeah.
When we write honestly about our pain, other people will feel for you because they probably felt the same. They probably had your struggles. This ain't song for the broken-hearted. So he is letting go. He is getting free and he finds strength. And it was a uplifting thing. I'm not gonna be just a face in the crowd. You're gonna hear my voice when I shout it out loud. It's this rebellious spirit. I remember hearing it when I was really young. It was like, my heart was beating faster. Like, yeah, that's my feelings. projections related to it.
It's a powerful song if you listen to it, and you also feel like you're participating in the song with him, not just being John Bon Jovi kind of expressing himself, as people might be tempted to think. Because if you think about that, it might sound like a little bit of a narcissistic song, but it's clearly not. Because if you look attentively to the video clip, the original video clip of the song, the main character is a young boy and a young girl who is in a concert, and the boy is struggling to get there. He kind of does an action movie sequence to get there. Most of the scenes are focused on the boy and his struggle to get there, to get to his goal, to be with the love of his youth, basically his life. And John Bon Jovi appears in some scenes, but he's always interacting with the audience. He's never kind of being only expressing himself. He's always sharing the power of this song with the audience. It sets a great tone for a shared song, a shared experience. I've seen several musicians conveying this idea in the beginning of their concerts, or when they realize that people aren't yet participating in the concert. They say that things like, they can only make this work, this concert really work, if both sides are participating. And I think that's really beautiful. It's not a one-sided event. A concert by someone like John Bon Jovi and his band, it really is a shared creation.
That's excellent. I really like. So guys, everyone, it's only happening because you're participating. Be active. Write in the comments what you think. Where are you when this song hit you for the first time? And let's go back to it.
It's my life. It's now or never. But I ain't gonna live forever. I just want to live while I'm alive. It's my life. So, as I was mentioning, it could sound like he's being a narcissist, saying it's my life, it's now or never in the beginning, but it's clearly not, because of the shared experience in the concert, and also the tone set by the video clip of the song. John Bon Jovi also very wisely states that he and everyone that is partaking in this song becomes aware of their mortality, which in Latin is called memento mori, which is when we remind ourselves about our mortality, which is a very wise thing to do, especially if we do it to confront our anxiety and become accustomed with that anxious feeling about death until it dissipates. We just befriend death, and we keep on going with our life while we are alive. And also, since we have grasped death rationally, not just anxiously or emotionally, we have a drive to live life to the fullest, which is, he also hints at, I just want to live while I'm alive. This echoes many thinkers that have showered humankind with their wisdom. One instance is, for example, Marcus Aurelius, who says, "Do not act as if you had 10,000 years to throw away. Death stands at your elbow. Be good for something while you live, and it is in your power." So this is, I think, a really wise stanza from John Bon Jovi, and it has so many wise teaching. It's so relevant to everyone's life, to the human condition in general.
Yeah, narcissism did not come to mind at any point for me. No, I wonder why is that. Shut out all the narcissists. I just want to live while I'm alive. Thing is, always when I listen to that song, my ears would tell me, I just want to live without a lie. I don't know why. It's like that's the way I always heard it. And the first time today, I understood. Oh, it was live while I'm alive. That's the thing. And now is real. And we only have this moment, not 10,000 years in the future. That's a good point. I would think maybe also what comes to mind, kind of this hedonistic idea, but that's me, totally a projection.
Yeah, there's also much to say about that, because you could live life as an unenlightened hedonist, as the philosophers say, which is to maximize your well-being, your pleasure in the moment, without paying regard to the consequences or thinking about living life on the long term. This is a lifestyle that risks us becoming very attached to certain stuff, certain vices, and vices are kind of like a steep downward slope. If we indulge in vices, then we can become a little bit attached to them that it might be tough to regain the reins of our life, because then the vices pull us. But we can live a life in an enlightened hedonistic way, which is to try to live life pleasantly, do our best to enjoy the moment, but still with our eyes on the future, having consideration for the consequences, and sharing empathy with other people, so that our lifestyle in search of enjoyment and tranquility doesn't interfere with the enjoyment and tranquility of others, and also facilitates that we have a sustainable lifestyle that will bring us joy for many years to come. It's a clear contrast between both. And though there have been many unenlightened hedonists, we just need to not study philosophy and indulge in many things when we are teenagers, for example. It's automatic. But to be an enlightened hedonist, we need to take heed to lessons from such people as Epicurus, who was clearly an enlightened hedonist. It's only one example. Okay, so let's move on.
Shout out hedonists. My heart is like an open highway. Like Frankie said, I did it my way. I just want to live while I'm alive, because it's my life.
Okay, so human nature is boundless in how it can express itself. That's what I get from the opening verse. And then he mentions, like Frankie said, I did it my way. Of course, he is mentioning one of the greatest singers of all time, Frank Sinatra, who had a song called My Way. So Bon Jovi not only mentions and references his own songs, he references other songs. Here he's mentioning one of the greatest of the great. And so these lines, they kind of beg the questions are we living our lives or the life of someone else? Are we expressing our free will wisely, or are we mindlessly being puppeteered by someone else? There's a quote from George Samuel Clayson, who wrote The Richest Man in Babylon, that struck me so powerfully. In the entire book, it was the line that struck me most, which is, hast thou the soul of a free man or the soul of a slave? So a woman asked the camel tender if he was a free man after all, or was he just subject to what fate gave him? And this basically transformed that man's life. He thought about that question. he freed himself from slavery. He fled his master, and then went on to become a successful and free man far away in another city. There's also much more recently thought by Terence McKenna, which is a very interesting person who has many wise teachings for us. He would say that if you don't have a plan, you become someone else's plan. And well, this really gives food for thought, and is a great. It's great for people to ask this wherever they are in their lives, and possibly it's better the sooner the people make these questions, ask these questions to themselves, the better, because there's nothing like becoming a driver of our own lives at the beginning of adulthood. It's really recommendable. It's really great if we really get the sense of we're in command and be a good commander of ourselves. It unlocks so many opportunities to thrive. I can't even put it to words.
Are people living their life or someone else's life? I like that. That's a good question. Are you being controlled by the outside forces, or do you have this inner strength to be the master of your own life? I think we grow up very often feeling powerless. We are being told what to do. We are basically being fed and the information, so we are told how to think as well. It's really hard to become an independent thinker and then walk this planet like that. That's why I think people like Elon, who grew up with this inner freedom, are able to transfer it into further life.
But contrast Elon with Howard Hughes, which is the aviator. He, in his childhood, he was not free at all. He was really kind of a prisoner of his mother, because his mother knew that he would be the last son she had because of complications at birth. And so she controlled every single aspect of Howard Hughes' life and made that man a control freak when he graduated into
washed
adulthood.
His hands 100 times. He had like massive OCD, if I remember correctly.
Exactly. Yeah, he was basically molded by his very oppressive childhood, and that made him well. He didn't recover from that. He didn't find a way to transform that into something productive, only partially, because he still was kind of successful in several businesses. But he failed miserably at many projects because he was a control freak and made everyone miserable working under him. Many people quit that were excellent engineers and excellent filmmakers. And so it gives us food for thought, because everyone has some trauma or more or less from childhood. Some people have really intense traumas. Others have kind of under the cover traumas, but are not very strong. But still, they come out at certain times during adulthood. And if we don't know about this, if we glance over it and gloss over it and ignore it, it will surprise us.
Silver lining. Right, you cannot have too much of everything. It's really important to find the balance, right? Like if you go one direction way too much and become a control freak, or too much into freedom and have this chaos, let's say.
Yeah, this is for the ones who stood their ground, for Tommy and Gina who never backed down. Tomorrow's getting harder, make no mistake. Luck ain't even lucky, got to make your own breaks. So in just 4 verses, so much richness of life lessons. John Bon Jovi is repeating here that this song is really not for the faint-hearted, it's rather for the ones that have figured out how to be tough, to stand their own ground versus life. There's also wisdom here in tomorrow's getting harder, make no mistake. Before, for Tommy and Gina, who never back down, this is again a reference to his other song, Living on a Prayer. According to Bon Jovi, everyone can relate to someone in their situation, this couple that are struggling financially. It shows that life can be crushing and oppressing. But if we find inner strength, we find a second wind to deal with it, we can overcome and also transform this toughness or this challenge of life into something good, into something formative. We can go out of the toughest years of our life and become successful people at whatever it is in which we are expressing our uniqueness. And then, funny thing, many people that live their toughest challenges in life, they tend to look at these challenging years of their life with nostalgia, with fondness, you know, like it was something that they treasure. It's kind of like a treasure of their life that they put into good use and derived from its wisdom and lessons, even without reading any philosophers and whatnot. They gained practical wisdom from fighting their own fights.
Yeah, I like how it says, luck ain't even lucky, got to make your own breaks. That's exactly what you just made. You have to make it your own.
There's also much to say about luck and fate, and are we really fooling ourselves if we kind of live our entire life betting on the lottery and never winning big on it? Is it really wise, a wise way to conduct our lives, to gamble, you know, to gamble in a way that we can't put our expertise as someone can in, for example, poker, which is not a game purely of chance and luck, but other games like the roulette or blackjack, they are much more luck-based, or even the ancient form of dice that people would for so many millennia play. This is, of course, important to realize that if we gain something from chance, from luck, we will not value it as much as if we gained it from our own hard work, our own battle against the difficulties of life. The author of The Richest Man in Babylon, George S. Clason, he said, "Fickle fate is a vicious goddess who brings no permanent good to anyone." And he goes on to state that it is very, very typical for people to gain some, you know, they break some lucky streak on gambling, and then they just go on to spend it frivolously. And then they end up poor again once more. It is really very common to see someone winning the lottery. And then they came from a poor mindset and they gained the lottery, and then they go back to poverty again because they basically put their poverty mindset to execute whatever it is they would want to execute with those millions, and then it doesn't result in, you know, wealth throughout their lineage for the future generations of their family. Even in their own life, the wealth is spent. There's also this idea that luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity. So true luck, not this fake luck of just letting life do with us whatever it wants. So rant over.
Yeah, Tommy and Gina never back down. They kept making their own luck. They kept trying. I really like that. It's really powerful song.
Yeah. And also, when he says tomorrow's getting harder, make no mistake, it's kind of like giving us a sense that don't wish for an easier life. Instead, wish to become stronger, to bear life's challenges valiantly.
Yeah, I agree to that. Tomorrow is getting harder. Be prepared. Don't count on luck. Make it. Excellent message. I will read the last one. Better stand tall when they're calling you out. Don't bend, don't break, baby. Don't back down. Because it's my life.
Yeah. So it's a final message of bringing all this together with the crucial point. If you really want to grasp the reins of your life, you need to develop not just resiliency, but also anti-fragility. You need to be versatile, to be tensile like a sheet of steel that, although it is tough and hard and it's difficult to break, it still has some tensile properties to it. And also, this is kind of like a message of conquering some self-sufficiency. Marcus Aurelius would say, stand straight, not straightened. And also, well, when life gives us, yeah, it's just so 4 words, and it's just so inspiring. Also, the mystical poet Rumi from the Middle East, the 14th century Middle East, when there was a renaissance there in that part of the world, in science and philosophy, he would say, when you go through a hard period, when everything seems to oppose you, when you feel you cannot even bear one more minute, never give up, because it's the time and place where the course will divert.
Yeah. Rumi has this way of expressing in the most poetic words, like most basic wisdom. Don't give up, no matter what. It has this powerful human spirit for achieving, for realizing our dreams, for achieving the goals that we made for ourselves. Yeah. Rogério, anything new stood out for you from that song?
Well, as usual with these songs from my youth and our youth in general, we kind of tend to have a superficial perspective of it. And as you said, I also would hear that part where he was saying, I just want to live my life while I'm alive. I also read it like he would say, well, I don't want to live a lie, basically. I also interpreted it. So probably more people would interpret it like that and not, study the lyrics like we happen to do, because we had to do this, we wanted to do this video. But still, it has a message that our brain kind of manufactured for us while we were listening to this song. It created a meaning, even though it wasn't clear. It wasn't this what Bon Jovi intentioned. It's also very important to live life truthfully as well. And so I think this song is kind of like Bon Jovi maybe realizing that human souls aren't like a void to be filled, but rather they are fires to be kindled. And I think this song is really like a matchbox to fire up a person's soul, to give them, strength and power to face their lives, to overcome, to transform their lives into something above what they are, to go to the next level. So I basically I recommend this song for especially youth. whatever the age, whatever the time, regardless of living in the 90s, the noughties, the 2010s, whatever. People, I think, should listen to songs like this one and be inspired by them. There aren't many songs like this. Most of the songs, as Bon Jovi even mentions in this song, they are about broken hearts. They are about people facing difficulties. And so this song is so precious and rare that it must be cherished. And I wish that more songwriters would write uplifting songs like this that basically echo the philosophies of, overcoming, of self-development, of self-improvement that I think are so needed in today's lives, where we are kind of like gripped by anxiety and depression and whatever. We need to find inner strength.
Yeah, I'm into that. Excellent. We want to live while we are alive. Rogério, thank you for this analysis today.
Thank you.
People, please check out Rogério's blog. He's the scholar of ancient philosophy. Also, I will provide the links for Instagram galleries of those two wonderful painters. Here is EM, and Rogério has Olga's paintings. Support them, give them likes, subscribe, and use the gifts of free time, which is our sponsor today. Bye. I have a beef with Schopenhauer. This quote. When I need a woman, I could not afford one. When I finally could afford one, I did not need one.
He was raised by a father and a mother. The father, he lost his life, I think, from suicide when he was still very young, and he had a poor relationship with his mother. It wasn't very warm, a warm relationship. He said he resented to be with her, and he only kind of benefited from her materially. So he was kind of attached to her because of money or something like that, and he even resented that because he wasn't very fond of his mother. So that, of course, reflected in his thinking. Fortunately, he compensated this dark vision of life that came from his childhood with his reading of ancient Hindu texts, the Upanishads, which gave him, I think, inspiration to make his life a more purposeful life, even despite or even in function of the challenges he had in his life.
Schopenhauer precisely hating only women, even though it's the father that was missing. That is my beef with him. Basically, he did not come through the point of view of a human, of a person, but his point was precisely gender.
You might think about misogyny, basically. So he was kind of like traumatized against women due to his relationship with his mother, which wasn't warm at all. It was a very cold relationship. And then he kind of transposed it, felt maybe resentful against women in general, perhaps. This is mere speculation, but his words that you said, they kind of reflect this suspicion that women, in his view, were kind of like interested in him superficially, perhaps. And so he never maybe found connection, really human connection with another woman in a romantic relationship, which is really a shame. We can only, live life to the fullest if we connect with someone in such a way.
I agree. Hearing what you just said about Schopenhauer makes me understand him more and dislike him less. So, shout out Schopenhauer.
We could talk about other philosophers from more or less his time and place, like Nietzsche or Kierkegaard from Denmark, or the existentialists after Kierkegaard, like Camus and Sartre. They had all very interesting writings and ideas, though we can argue that no one after like 400 AD, after Marcus Aurelius, produced really original thoughts. It's a very derivative, the philosophy, humankind's philosophy, especially in regard to self-development and self-improvement.
Original thought, yeah, true. It is true, we are very limited. Our experiences, we eat, we love, we get education, we have to feed family, we have to raise. Like the challenges that a human faces, they're basically universal. And philosophers can talk about it, but we all been there basically. Thinking about Frank Sinatra. And now the end is near, and so I face the final curtain. My friend, I'll say it clear, I'll state my case, of which I'm certain. I've lived a life that's full, I've traveled each and every highway, and more, much more than this, I did it my way.
Wow.
Thank you.